Grand Rising. I'm going to need y'all to share this video because they are demonizing Cyrus Carmack Belton and Carmelo Anthony. And we need to fight back. You see, a long time ago, America established a position called a publicist. It's another word for fixer, okay? Because a publicist basically works on behalf of anybody with money. You don't have to be an actor. You don't have to be in Hollywood. You don't have to be an athlete. You can hire a publicist if you can afford one. Right now, Jeff Metcalf is on a publicity tour to make his son look like a saint. You know, the son whose picture that I just posted holding that big ass gun with his twin brother. Yeah, that's a saint, okay? It's okay for white boys to carry guns, to do whatever, because, you know, it's normal for them. But when black people do it, it's something different. But this is not going to be a diatribe. I just want to break things down to y'all, okay? Because you have to make the correlation to understand how the system works, okay? First of all, we live in a country where white people have used publicists to demonize black people. And for you to understand how it works is that publicists, when they release a statement on behalf of a rapist like Trump or a murderer, it doesn't matter. Any white person that commits a crime that has money, they can hire a publicist to clean their image. But the statement is usually released to the media. That's how you learn about it. It's sent to all the newspapers, TV stations. Some will pick it up depending on how interesting the story is. How do I know this? Not only have I always had a publicist since I became a writer, because every time I write a book, my publicist has to write a press release on my behalf to draw interest in my book, right? And in addition, when I was in graduate school, I studied journalism with a concentration in film and television writing. And I was taught the role of a publicist, which is why I always knew it was necessary for me to hire a publicist as a writer. But as I gained experience, I became my own publicist. If you go and Google me now, you will see articles on me from Black Enterprise, you know, plenty of newspapers. Guess who wrote those articles? My publicist, okay? Jeff Metcalf right now is on a publicity tour, you know, because he wants to demonize Carmelo Anthony. Rick Charles' publicist is demonizing Cyrus Carmack Belton. Because you see, black people get demonized even in death. Posthumously, we get tried again. You understand what I'm saying? That's how the system works, because we live in a country, right, with a history of slavery, hangings, rapings, kidnappings of our ancestors, but somehow, some way, right, they have managed to get their fixers, their publicists, to demonize us and call us criminals, lazy, and everything else. Even though America, the U.S. government, white people, have murdered millions of people around the world. You understand? But we're the criminals. This is the same thing that they did when mass incarceration legislation was passed. They convince you through a publicist that you were committing crimes. But when the meth epidemic hit, they convince you with the same publicist to show compassion. But let me tell y'all something. What do you think happened with all those people who invested in private prisons. They haven't gone anywhere. They're still watching the investments. So they still have in place a quota system to arrest and criminalize black people. And guess what? The publicists, they stay employed because their job is to create an image of us that is detrimental to our own well-being. You see, when I wrote this book, because I need y'all to read this, The Most Dangerous Gang in America, the NYPD, I specifically priced it at 99 cents on Amazon because you need to understand how the system works. You need to understand how these people have criminalized, black people, how they turn our young men, our juveniles, into delinquents. And their plan is not just national or federal here. It is an international plan. Okay? Which is why they're able to maintain an image that everyone is striving for. White people have murdered millions of people around the world. White people have convinced the world black people are lazy. Black people are criminals. Black people are this and that. Guess what? If white people were so hardworking, why would they travel all the way to Africa to kidnap millions of people to help build a land that they stole? Millions of Africans were thrown overboard. So they committed not just heinous crimes, murder, kidnapping. They committed rape and a bunch of other crimes that their publicists have managed to cover for them. I need y'all to understand this history because right now, Carmelo Anthony is being demonized. I'm going to tell y'all a personal story about me, okay? Because I could have been Carmelo Anthony 20 times over. Because white people are raised in a way that they think we're still enslaved. You understand? I grew up in Boston and I went to school in the boondocks when I was in college. In my senior year in college, we got into something with these white boys over the N-word, of course. And of course, they couldn't fight, so we whooped their asses, right? They came back and shot up my car. One thing led to another. Before I knew it, I was in the legal system. I was being charged. I was looking at 5 to 10 years, okay? Luckily, I got a good attorney. I was able to beat the case, all right? I got expelled, but I'm going to tell y'all, before I got expelled, right? I walked into a room. I was supposed to have a jury of my peers. So, of course, I'm on a campus with about 40 black students. Not one black student was part of the jury. So when I walked in, I told them white people, kiss my black motherfucking ass. Go on, do your expulsion. Fuck you. Because I knew I stood no chance. And it's the same thing that happened to Carmelo Anthony. He didn't stand a chance. I got expelled just a few months before I graduated from college. That didn't stop me, though, because I still ended up graduating from college because I transferred. You see, I was that kid that always maintained a certain GPA. They want to tell you that Carmelo Anthony was a demon when that shit happened, right? How does a demon maintain a 3.57 GPA? Working 2 jobs. They want to make you believe he's from a ghetto family. He's from a middle class family. Everything that their publicists are working on to demonize him, none of it is true. I can't even tell you how many times while on campus, this is at a college campus, okay, these racist white boys antagonized us. Especially when it was 4 or 5 of them and it was just 2 or 3 of us. They thought the numbers worked in their favor. Nah. This is on a college campus. So it's no different at a track meet. They're going to attack. They're going to antagonize because they're raised that way. And when we defend ourselves, they're the victim. This is why George Zimmerman is walking around free. He saw a skinny Trayvon Martin, figured he had the advantage, started harassing him, was getting his fucking ass whooped. He couldn't defend himself. He pulled out a gun, shot him dead. It was self-defense then, right? But it's always reverse for black people. Kyle Rittenhouse killed 2 people. Self-defense. He brought a gun. Meaning he intended on using his gun, right? Carmelo Anthony had a knife in the bag. I carried a knife with me from the time I was, I don't know, 13. Now I carry a gun. I'm armed every day. Have I killed anybody? Did I ever kill anybody when I carried a knife? No. But guess what? That knife saved my life one night. Even though I still almost got killed. But when the 5 white boys were chasing me, if I didn't have a knife on me, I couldn't ward them off. But they still came back with bats and shit like that. When I was in college, they came back and shot up my car. This is in college. Okay? So I don't want y'all to buy into their bullshit, because this is what white people have done. This is why I need y'all to educate yourself. Understand how their mind works. I'm looking for black liberators. I'm not looking for black people who want to talk. Okay? Because the talking is fucking over. If you're afraid, if you don't want to change things for your kids, get off my page. Dr. King, Malcolm X, all of them, they all had children. And they all understood the assignment. The assignment was freedom or death. Not freedom or be on your knees. Even though Dr. King was nonviolent, he knew, because they had tried to push him to commit suicide. This is what these fucking demons do. Okay? And in talking about this, y'all think I write just to write. Listen. The Most High blessed me. Okay? Bless me with the ability to write so that I can transfer my knowledge onto you. And it just so happened, A Time for Revenge, The Black Revolution, Part 1 and 2. I took a 10-year break from writing to focus on other businesses before I wrote these books. And when I was writing these books, the focus was Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, the Haitian Revolution, Black Unity, and Black Revenge. They were my inspiration. That's why I wrote these books, because for whatever reason, the ancestors, through me, pushed me to write these books. And I want y'all to understand how the system is working against us. And if we don't stand up, if we don't start fighting back, the system will continue for 5, 10 more generations, because white people are all about positioning themselves to control other people. They want to act like, rescuers, heroes, even after being responsible for the damage. White people suffer from a God complex. And when you suffer from a God complex, you think you can do anything to anybody in the world. We are not violent like white people are. We are not criminal. We learn criminal behavior from white people, okay? Because they spread it throughout the world. And this is why they stand on their guns, behind their guns, to make sure, their criminal behavior is not questioned. They write laws that they don't follow. You understand? They don't obey. This is why you have a rapist in the White House right now. This is why he's surrounded by a bunch of fucking pedophiles from the Epstein file who will never be prosecuted. This is why all these January 6th insurrectionists who have committed other crimes since being released, since being pardoned by the rapists, it's in their nature. And I want y'all to understand that. Carmelo was an honor roll student. Okay? He was not a thug. He didn't come from a poor ghetto family. Cyrus Carmack Belton was running away from the situation. He got shot by Rick Child's son. Rick Child took the fucking rap for it. He's dead, and nothing has happened. We're gonna ban these businesses. We're not going back. We're gonna fucking ban them permanently. We're gonna educate ourselves, and we're gonna start fighting back. That's what I want y'all to do. We need black liberators. Y'all have a good one.